Hello everyone and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we will be talking about Return to Nangrim, a game that isn't even an early access title. No, this game takes us back to the days of playable demos, the days when you would get a disc that contained 15 minutes to an hour of gameplay in an attempt to convince you to buy the game. Personally, the demo that sticks out most of all for me from my childhood is the one I had for God of War 2. I must have played that demo 100 times before realizing that no matter how well I performed, it always ended in the same spot. But these days, game demos are much rarer, and Return to Nangrim has used this retro throwback form of media marketing to grab the attention of many gamers and content creators, so I gave it a try. Return to Nangrim is a dark first-person fantasy adventure with survival and RPG elements, so grab your axe and shield and go on an epic journey that will take you and your animal companion into the ominous depths of the ancient mountain. The fabled world of Nangrim awaits you, also in VR, or at least that's what the Steam page says about the game. But before we get too excited, at the moment it's only a short demo that contains approximately 20 to 30 minutes worth of gameplay. Now, I spent more time than that, a little over an hour in fact, trying to see what this demo had to hide, and the answer is not much. But that really shouldn't be that surprising, given the fact that it is only a demo released by a relatively unknown indie studio. Return to Nangrim appears to be the studio's first attempt at making a game for their larger universe, a universe which they call Arafinn. The Arafinn contour is the central hub of the Arafinn Universe. Arafinn is a dark high fantasy world full of epic tales and legends. Dwarves, elves, humans, giants, the orcish Uturi, and many other beings inhabiting a world in constant change, full of war, conflicts, and unexpected alliances. So now, I may be a layman, but to me it sounds like a royalty-free Lord of the Rings clone. Is that a bad thing? I would say no. I love the Tolkien universe, and I hate that we have never gotten an open-world action RPG set in Tolkien's universe. I have always wanted to play as a dwarf, and explore and perhaps restore the ancient depths of Khazad-dûm. However, despite the fact that I am likely joined by hundreds of thousands, if not millions of other people that feel exactly the same way as me, we still do not have a proper Lord of the Rings RPG. So Arafinn is apparently the store brand Arda, and I for one am absolutely fine with this. The game itself, or at least what little I was able to play, is actually pretty solid. The movement feels fine, if not a little slow and lumbery, but given the fact that we are playing as a dwarf, this could be intentional. I like the crafting and forging system. It is simple, but has some complexities to it that keep it more interesting than a traditional open world game where you click on an anvil and forge things automatically out of your existing inventory pool. Don't get me wrong, I have nothing against those mechanics, but this game seems to want to emphasize forging and mining, as these are typical areas of interest for dwarves, and I think it works. You can't just hammer raw ore into a sword or even a cup. First you have to smelt it, and for that, of course, you need fuel, so you have to go cut down a tree. But that may not be enough because certain ores and alloys require a flame much hotter than regular wood will provide, so you may even need special fuel. Then you have to make sure the furnace is at the right temperature. Making it hotter is easy. Fuel it all the way up and open up the flaps and get those flames humping. But what about something like copper, which requires a lower heat and will fail if you attempt it too hot? Well, now you need to close your flaps and get the forge's temperature down to an acceptable level. This is a little feature that I love, and although I'm sure some people will find it annoying, I think it adds a layer of immersion that makes the smithing process more meaningful. But that's not where it ends. You will also need to know how to make alloys. So, you have smelted a bunch of ore into bars, but now you want to craft an axe. Well, oops, it requires bronze. How do you get that? There is no bronze ore. Of course not, that would be silly. Bronze is an alloy, much like steel, but a little bit simpler. Now you have to mix copper and tin, as everyone knows, to make bronze. But is it a simple half and half mixture? Nope, they follow the real-life ratio to make bronze, and that means you'll need a 3-to-1 ratio for copper to tin. I think you'll start to agree that this game has got the heat turned 3/4 of the way up already. But that's just one mechanic. You of course don't lumber down to the ore store and buy 3 clumps of iron and 1 of gold for your weekly shopping trip. You need to get yourself a pick and climb down into the mines, which just may or may not be infested with orcs and spiders. And then you're going to need to find the specific ore that you're looking for, which exists in veins in the walls, and then you're going to have to mine it out manually. A process that is pretty fun currently, but in my opinion includes way too much clicking. This is something that I would say is sorely needed. A click and hold option is really necessary in my opinion for a mining mechanic like this. The combat in the game, as it is very straightforward. Have a weapon equipped in your hand or hands, and click. It does not appear to be directional like Mountain Blade or Kingdom Come Deliverance. In fact, there appears to be little to no nuance at all in the combat system. But that's also hard to judge because the only combat that I've experienced in the demo was killing some tiny spiders. That being said, there does appear to be a fully customizable armor and weapon system, which will allow the player to equip themselves as they see fit. And I, of course, approve of that. At the moment, the story of the game is interesting, if a bit vague at this point. Apparently, you are a dwarf who is either headed towards this mountain or fleeing from it when you somehow lost your memory. I don't know if that was the result of magic, which wouldn't be out of place given the dark fantasy setting, or if it's a simple rock-on-the-head amnesia situation. Either way, you wake up and don't know what's going on or why you're there. So you explore the close vicinity to discover some corpses with some books and some notes, and a story begins to develop if you read through them all. And I find the mystery to be pretty entertaining, so I hope to see it continue in a meaningful way. The game also currently features limited voice acting for a select few voiceover sections. I think this is done pretty well. I've seen and heard some complaints about the performances, but I personally like them. They are grand and over the top, much like the dwarves in Lord of the Rings. So I like it, and I find it helpful for immersion in believing that I am playing as a dwarf. I also think the writing is acceptable in the cases that I have so far witnessed. After all, this is an indie game developer, and the dialogue and book writing are, in my opinion, superior to anything Bethesda has made in nearly 2 decades. Overall, I would say that the story and performances are all pretty solid, even if I'm only judging it based on a very small chunk of gameplay at the time. The Steam page does give us a little more information about this new game universe than the demo does, so I'll just read that to you now. In times when the gods wandered among men and shaped Ara's surface, light and darkness were in perfect balance. The kingdoms of men and dwarves from the coldest north to the deepest south, living together in peace with the elven cultures in the west, and even with the obscure dark elves in the distant east. People were free and had everything to live a good life. They knew neither war nor misery. But yes, the time of peace and harmony could not last forever. Asgordar, the god of wrath and deception, brought the balance and sway as he betrayed his own siblings, and so it began. The ancient foundations of divine equilibrium broke, and bitterness and immorality found their way to the heart of men, where hatred and bitterness triumph. Inequality and war are not far away, and so he will rise from the abyss to divide brothers and sisters, promising gold, but bringing the sword. Therefore see and behold, disease and death follow in his shadow. Explore the different ages, gods, creatures, and flora, and the legends and tales of Arafinn. Find answers to questions like, have there ever lived dragons, witches, wizards? And are there still? What kind of magic is known in Arafinn? Which Uturi clan is the most numerous? How big were the giants that once wandered the world? Are there necromancers or demons? Which ages did the Shadow Lords reign? What is a revenant? Are there dark elves? And how many dwarven realms exist? Features include interactive short stories, comics, satellite view world map, family and creatures wiki, dictionaries for all languages of Arafinn, and all of these features are going to get extended with new content over time. So prepare yourself for a thrilling first-person fantasy adventure in the depths of a dwarven mountain city. Experience a tale of dwarves, betrayal, and the fall of an empire. Or at the very least, keep an eye out for any announcements about the game's full release. You can probably most effectively do this by adding the game to your Steam wishlist, and the link will be in the description. And then you'll be notified if a release date is ever announced. Or you could always subscribe to this channel, as I will be keeping my eyes peeled for any news related to this game, as it has done an adequate job of piquing my interest. But that's where we're going to be ending today's video. I hope you found it to be entertaining and informative. A special shout out to Macbeth of Gondor, who is actually the person who brought this game to my attention through a video that he produced on his channel. I'm going to have his channel in a pinned comment down in the comments section, and I recommend any Lord of the Rings gamer fans check him out and drop a subscribe. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to click that like button, subscribe to the channel, and pop down to the comment section to leave a quick comment of Baruch Kazad, Kazad Ai Manu, or for the non-dwarvish speakers out there, Axes of the dwarves are upon you. But in any case, thanks a ton for watching, and we'll see you next time.
That gate points my way. I wonder what's on the other side.
Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.